Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Today, Sri Rajagopalan joins me from Delhi, and we're going to talk a little bit about what transpired in the recent meeting of Sri Amit Shah, the Home Minister of India, with all the state DGPs, the Director Generals of Police. And a lot of information was discussed, the concern about the national security, not only from one threat, but multiple threats in multiple ways. To get a better feeling for all this, Sri Rajagopalan will expand on this and give us his views on how he sees the country and the country's internal security. Rajagopalan ji, namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel, sir.
Namaskaram, namaskaram, namaskaram.
Rajagopalan ji, please walk us through what was the significance of this meeting. And there are so many threats now, not just drones, not just people sneaking in like the way it has been happening in Kashmir and other places. Just walk us through a little bit about what happened in this conference. What are the concerns expressed by the Home Minister?
Namaskar to all PGuru viewers and also to Sri Iyer. You asked me two questions. I will elaborate that. I will explain that. Mr. Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, presided over 2 days national conference of 34 directors general of police and of all states and also union territories on national security strategy conference. It is every 2 years it happens in Delhi and on other parts. Because of Corona, it was not held 2 years ago. There were 6 key topics discussed at the meeting. There are 700 senior IPS officers, Indian Police Service officers, and that. Apart from that, there were special guests like Director General of Military Operation, Director General of Air Intelligence, Director General of Naval Intelligence. These are all certain extra inputs they wanted to give to the border states. Apart from that, the important is not about only the law and order in every state or in the country. The Amit Shah Narendra Modi duo, it should be the other way. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah duo, they want to replicate what all they had done in Gujarat during their chief ministership and during his Minister of State as Home Affairs in Gujarat. To take it forward, Mr. Sri Iyer, I would say that the border security is paramount. The other two are cryptocurrency and the 5G introduction, which is going to happen in another 15 days in the national capital, and subsequently it will be expanded all over the country. As we get and gain strength on digitalization, there are crimes also inbuilt in the digitalization. For example, data security. For example, earlier, the way in which the digital transaction has transformed in the past 3 years is phenomenal. Example, if I would like to illustrate, if I go to a milk vendor, a milk booth, say Mother Dairy in New Delhi, I draw milk from a credit card. Earlier, they used to give a card. You can fill that amount with that card, and that data is secured with the Mother Dairy. How to protect that data? But the transformation of that during Corona was, you can pay through Paytm, you can pay through PayPay, Bharat Pay, Beam applications, UPI like that. Later, it came to further modernization of quick response, QR code. So it taken very large steps in 2 years. The security also gets travel along with that transformation. There are committing fraud, electronic frauds are all there. How to stop that? Because data security is important for national security. For example, recently the Aadhaar card, or for that matter, the Corona vaccination certificate was issued online for anyone. But the way in which they have protected it is very, very, critical. Suppose if I try to hack that, which is impossible now because there are lots of firewalls, there are a lot of, preventing systems. So therefore, India has achieved the peak. That is what Mr. Narendra Modi claims, and Mr. Amit Shah told the meeting. There are inbuilt threats, security threats. For example, cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is a new model which is, all over the world. It is taking the economy of each country for a ride. For example, even in USA or in UK, or for that matter, even in India, Indian government is now having a stringent law on cryptocurrency. In another 2 years, Mr. Iyer, I fear that the digitalization is going to peep into health sector, to tourism, to every sector. It is going to rattle the country's progress. For example, television industry. Now the viewers are fast moving to YouTube. The viewers are fast moving to phone-based mobile applications. The laptop is also waning away. Earlier we had tape record. Now it has become like, as my age, the tape record has also gone into a backstage. So these are all certain, important developments. How to tackle the threats from these, the digitalization. That is what the 2 days they deliberated. Top intelligence officers attended that meeting, and as you ask me questions, we can articulate the viewers also and their mindset. This debate is going to be very, very thought-provoking. And this debate, what you are going to question me, what I will read out my, interesting aspects in another 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to give you a lot of inside information from the, agenda papers, which was digitally circulated. I could have a, fortune to look into that. There are 700 pages of that digitalized agenda. So from that 700 agenda points, I drawn some 10, which I would like to explain to PGuru viewers. And you are welcome to ask me any question.
Certainly, I think India has come of age in terms of adoption of online trading. For example, what you said, Paytm or UPI or Beam and Bharat Pay, Phone Pay and all that stuff. India has really come along. In fact, this is a very critical phase that India is going through. In my opinion, Rajagopalan, everybody should be transacting everything using electronic. Because then what happens is you don't need to carry a wallet, you don't need to carry money, you can just use your phone, and the phone has a find feature. So even if somebody steals your phone, you have turned that thing on, you can track where it's going. So your security goes up that much more, and the phone can do all your transactions for you. And that way what happens is you may not be on a way to the fruit market, but you happen to see a really nice set of mangoes being sold along the roadside, you should be able to buy it. So these kinds
Absolutely, you are correct, sir.
That flexibility comes when the country shifts to more digital payment methods. Rajagopalan, the vulnerabilities of these things, like for example UPI or Paytm and things like that, I'll tell you, like a 20,000 foot level, maybe I can ask you to answer this question. What happens is most of these things use some part of open source software. Open source software is something that is developed free and is available free. The problem with that is somebody who wants to hack into your system, they can put their malware in. And when you use that as part of the implementation in UPI or Paytm, then essentially you are importing that hack into the system. Was there anything mentioned about this, that these things will not be using open source, or there will be a rigorous checking process for open source software usage?
Yeah, sure. These are all certain technical points which, for security reasons, let us not debate it. That's what I would urge upon you, sir. Because, if you inbuilt a threat mechanism or a counter mechanism, to counter that, there will be counter, software. So therefore, Government of India, especially the National Informatics Center and other agencies, like, computer hacking threat cell, there is quick response team, Lot of things have come up in the past 2 3 years. As we devolve further, the things are also getting more meticulously, I should say, improvised. And second thing, to give a broader perspective of what you just now enunciated, apart from the digitalization, Mr. Iyer, border security of Jammu, Kashmir, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, these are all certain things. Plus, internally, left wing extremism, internally, the communal tension, internally, the 5G, which is going to be launched very soon, that brings in lots of threats within itself. It's a package. When you develop, you have some crisis also along with that. And second thing, as I said, cryptocurrency. On the top of it, the 2 days conference has come out with a novel idea of opening a fingerprint unit. The unique, it's a blessing in disguise for the human being. Every human being has fingerprints, but out of 135 crore Indians, the fingerprints also varies 135 crores. Your fingerprint may not be that of to mine, or mine may not be that of to XYZ. So therefore, how to recognize the fingerprint? There is a technology which Indian scientists have developed. And second important thing which the government came out is the facial recognition. That is an interesting aspect which Mr. Amit Shah, important aspect what he told the meeting about a major shift of Indian police system. How to go about that?
That's very good, sir. These are all things that China already has in place. So India is
and Mr. Iyer, India is also developing that. And second, there is a huge difference in handling the cases since 2014 of any crime. I would like to say a first of its kind institution set up by Modi government helped to create a skilled human resources to investigate cyber crimes, match DNA and fingerprints, and detect malpractices in accounting, besides unraveling financial and banking frauds. So therefore, there is an importance of forensic science. If you remember, during the tenure of Narendra Modi as Chief Minister and Amit Shah as Minister of State for Home in Gujarat, they set up a national university for forensic sciences. So what does it mean, the forensic science? Mr. Narendra Modi elaborated it when he was presenting a budget through Madam Nirmala Sitharaman in 2000, very recently, 2-3 years ago, in which he instituted a national university for crimes in Rohini in New Delhi. So it's a very fast developing scenario. To cope up with that, forensic science, if I would like to explain to Guru viewers, is nothing but actually a postmortem of evidences, Mr. Iyer. It is the same application of science to crime investigation also. So if any crime takes place or it happens elsewhere in part of India, there must be traces of evidence of criminality in every action. For example, in account books, in bank entries, in DNA, fingerprints, or for that matter, social media too. We can detect them scientifically, very effectively, and thanks to the innovation of young minds in the colleges and universities. So therefore, Mr. Amit Shah took it forward. 2-3 participants of the conference, National Security Strategy Conference, told me they are very senior IPS officers holding a very highest position in Government of India and also in state governments. They complimented the system because the government that works at the center is helping the Indian police system. So there are certain apprehensions also expressed, which I would like to deal during our conversation.
Thank you very much, Rajagopalan ji. And certainly India is racing ahead and trying to enforce that digitalization works the right way, also that they are well equipped to capture and tackle some of the other threats that come through. You said something in passing about drones being a threat. Now, for India, it needs something like an anti-drone technology that can, detect and also take down these drones. We know that a lot of arms and ammunition, drugs, everything from Pakistan is flowing in through drones. Was there anything touched upon that anti-drone technology, or India is planning on importing that?
Yes, yes, certainly, certainly. In fact, the Civil Aviation Minister, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia, when he announced the drone policy 2 months earlier, 2 months ago, he also elaborated that this is a security risk because for any VIP, for any installations, for example, the Huang 5 Chinese spy ship, which you and me broke the story, which got the world attention, thanks to P. Guru and P. Iyer. That incident, see, 750 kilometers away, they can snoop into your installations, security installations. So therefore, you are right. Drone technology, antidotes to the drones were also discussed. What I hear from my sources, and these are all certain national security issues where I would like to, leave it like that for the articulation of our viewers. But I want to compare a new trend in the investigation, crime investigation, and forensic audit. For example, the CBI, for example, the Enforcement Directorate officers, they take some important documents from during the raids. For example, Manish Sisodia. For example, Nawab Malik of Maharashtra. For example, during Anil Deshmukh, Paramveer Singh, Indian Police Service officer, was claiming that Anil Deshmukh wanted 100 crores. How do you compare that? There is a system in the National Crime Investigation Authority, that is University of Forensic Science in Gujarat. That division deals with Enforcement Directorate officers, and they are given training, and they are giving training in particularly analyzing what's going on with the crime mentality. Through that, they do a DNA of your criminal intention. For example, if I do a fraud, if I commit a crime, my mindset is easily visible to the investigator through these applications. And second thing, Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah both are now focusing on democratic changes, which is now happening fast in India, especially after Corona. The migrants approach, migrants agitation, the Shaheen Bagh, the farmers agitation, how the crime input was inculcated through foreign governments, Canada, Dubai, UK, USA. So these are all certain external threats. To compile that in a very fashionable form for the viewers of PGurus, I would like to bring to your knowledge and to the viewers' knowledge of a decade ago. It was me who did a major story in Varta, in Telugu Daily, which I revealed the Cabinet Committee on Security's intentions during Mr. Manmohan Singh's regime, that who am I, how they have been developing a software for Taliban and also Pakistan sitting in Bengaluru. It was a top secret report which I revealed, and my management, Mr. Girish Shangi, the Member of Parliament, who leader of Varta, gave me a decoration of having scooped the story. Particularly, the Cabinet Committee on Security, which got a paper from the Intelligence Bureau. At that time, Mr. ESL Narasimhan, the former governor of Andhra Pradesh, was the director of Intelligence Bureau, with the cooperation of the senior research team of technologists, brought out a paper how that who is going to be affecting the Indian security. That is why Mr. Narendra Modi thought that 5G applications 𝙒𝙖 can be best said, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So we must give credit to the tall leaders of the city agencies yesteryears. They have contributed much. that is the way in which it has been taken forward by Mr. Amit Shah in 2022. The leadership of Mr. Amit Shah, which gave, because he is a political person, he is a master of social engineering, and also he has given a political twist to Indian electioneering system. So now his contribution towards the security and also to the forensic science and also to the cyber crime, cryptocurrency, these are all certain important aspects which I would like to explain. When I explain to your viewers, if you have more questions, I am ready to answer that, sir.
Fully 7.3% of all cryptocurrency transactions around the world are made in India. So this is a very big number. We don't know who's transacting in cryptocurrencies. Certainly it is being used to launder money perhaps, and whatnot, we don't know. So on cryptocurrency, it directly ties with money laundering because it gives you a certain anonymity that you can't detect the real source and you cannot detect. It's just a series of numbers going across. What kind of plans does the Indian government have to catch or curb crypto operations?
Yeah, it is a very, very difficult question. The Reserve Bank of India is with that in consultation with the security agencies and the forensic experts in India. India is proud to, as you said, there are 8%, nearly 8% of transaction. For that matter, 40% of transaction of digital transaction is taking place in India. So therefore, a story of we feeling a wow feeling, and there is also a dismay at the other side of cryptocurrency. So whatever we focused on, the other important aspect, Mr. Amit Shah told the Indian Police Service officers at the National Security Strategy Conference was forensic science, and he has been dealing with that, and in particularly the forensic science is an integral to the judicial and justice delivery system also, he explained. For example, the approach of any human being through their social platforms. For example, any expert at any university of criminology that they can deduct the criminal's pattern behavior of and from presence on WhatsApp, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram and other social media platforms. For example, if you and me are exchange certain views, from that they can understand, the system can understand how you and me are having a criminal intent. Apart from that, Mr. Iyer, the threat to Indian security, not only Indian security, the world over. For example, even yesterday when the Federal Security Bureau of Russia apprehended a person who was planning to kill UP BJP leaders. So that is also through a computerized tracking system they done it. So I'm not an expert on computerization, but from the security point of view, if you do that, you can get a clear-cut idea of the government's intentions. So it was a very well deliberated conference. Mr. Amit Shah sat through 48 hours, and during the night times they had a dinner and they had a interaction individually. Each state director general of police explained to Mr. Amit Shah. So national security, in one line, if I have to describe that, it is in the good hands of Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, that I could claim very effectively, having traced the history of the Intelligence Bureau and Research Analysis Wing, plus other agencies. I would say, as we travel, the agencies have also traveled with us, and in fact, they have overtaken so that India can be protected well.
Thank you very much, Rajagopalanji. I think that was an excellent talk on what has been happening, and certainly internal security is a very, very serious matter. We saw the NSA, Ajit Dovalji, say the same thing about a few months ago. So India needs to be first strong from within, and then it can take on anybody from outside. Thank you very much once again, Rajagopalanji. Viewers, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and also click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.